This is Abbotsford Convent, a remarkable oasis of tranquility and heritage, home to Australia's largest multi-arts precinct, just 4 kilometres from the Melbourne CBD. 15 years ago, these gardens and 11 buildings were set to become another inner-city apartment development. But then came an extraordinary community campaign, and thanks to a receptive and bold state government, and ultimately a gracious withdrawal by the developer, this unique piece of Victorian history was saved. Next came a lot of hard work by supporters and donors to build a business case for an arts and cultural precinct to benefit all Victorians. The philanthropic, arts and business communities helped raise millions of dollars matched by the Bracks government. And today, the Abbotsford Convent is an important part of Melbourne's creative arts portfolio, hosting more than 1,000 arts, cultural and other events each year. Now the convent has more than 1 million visitors a year, nearly 150 tenants with a long waiting list, is internationally recognised and is in line for National Heritage listing. And tonight we pay tribute to the person who brought this site to life, the person who brought heart and soul to a superb physical asset that almost got away. Maggie Maguire, take a bow. Almost nothing about Maggie's appointment and leadership could be called typical or conventional.
When she was appointed, she was not the obvious choice. We'd interviewed all day. She was the last person, and she came in with purple hair, a smiley face, and an irreverent manner. I remember Charlotte Allen, as the deputy chair at the time, standing up, putting her arms in the air and saying, "She's the one." Really, what was given to her, one might say, was a poison chalice. An old farm that's run down, 11 historic buildings. There were sceptics, there was opposition, and there was a very strong sense that this was unlikely to succeed. Maggie needed to bring not only a vision, but she needed to persuade people that this could succeed. I can't tell you of how difficult those early days were. There were times when it seemed an impossible task.
And as daunting as that task was, it was an opportunity that was almost missed. Before Maggie arrived, the developer Australand had won the rights to turn the site into a massive apartment development, setting off one of the most successful community conservation programs in recent history.
It was really about this amazing group of local residents who saw this extraordinary opportunity. And the community essentially rallied around and, in a really sophisticated way, said, this is an opportunity for us to create an extraordinary arts, cultural and educational precinct. But the problem was that the site had been sold to Rob Prattlin and at that time Australand. And so this was an enormous ask of government. And frankly, they put enormous pressure on me to go, well, we have to get this opportunity, we have to get this land back into public ownership. And at the time I thought, oh my God, I mean, what sort of an ask is this? We're actually going to go to this developer and say, listen, we actually want you to rescind your contract because we want to make this into a arts, cultural and educational mecca. So you can imagine when I turn up to see then Premier Bracks and his staff to say, this is a fantastic opportunity, Steve. We've really got to seize upon this and see if we can secure it back in public hands.
I thought it was going to be very difficult because already we just come to government. The previous government had issued a planning permit to Australand to develop it for some high-rise housing on the site. And I thought, well, if there's a planning permit, how on earth do we get out of this? I was keen to do it, but it's just finding the right way to do it. And so thankfully we were able to renegotiate with Australand. It was a great gift to give back to Victoria, and a risk of course, but a risk that paid off long term.
We had the whole convent. We had a contract subject to rezoning for the whole site. And then it went through a public exhibition process. We submitted our plans, we had all the residents object, we had 4,000 people come through on a weekend. Personally, I was a bit disappointed because obviously I had sort of visions very similar from a use point of view to what's actually there now, the difference being that I'd had people living above. People with passion change the world. And what Maggie's done at the convent and the vibrancy that's down there and the interaction of people is fantastic. And yes, we were adversaries at one point in time, but I think that's all historical now, and what she and her team have done there is sensational.
When the idea emerged of turning it into something that was more community-oriented, arts-oriented, I was a sceptic. Firstly, I didn't think it was necessarily at that stage particularly well planned. When the new management regime with the new CEO commenced in 2005, I had my fingers crossed and hoped for the best, and it's turned out extremely well. So Maggie is the one who's breathed life into this place with its board. I'm pretty confident that the prospects for what is now the new Abbotsford Convent are fabulous, and all it needs is a bit more investment.
And the Trust has done everything we hoped it would do, and under the leadership of Maggie, of course, just magnificent in what they've achieved in such a short period of time.
She was an absolute dynamo from the time I first met her when she came on board as the CEO. I thought, who is this woman? All of my interactions with her usually started with convent calling or this bright pink text emails. She was equally capable dealing at the board level and government level and politician level and dealing with all those sorts of people, but she'd also be happy enough to be on the gate when it was necessary. When you look at that place today and you wind back a decade, I don't know that anyone in their wildest dreams would think that we would be in the position, that the community would be in the position it is without Maggie's energy and her vision.
When we knew that the convent was actually looking for tenants, we jumped. And I think we were probably amongst the very first intake into the cells on the first floor. And it was fantastic for us, a great beginning. Maggie was always very professional, always had the twinkle in her eye, but you always got the impression that you couldn't put anything over her. She was in sympathy with artists, but she did run a tight ship. She knew that certain things had to be done, like you had to pay the rent, for example. We watched it grow. We moved from a single cell to 2 cells, and then we moved down onto the ground floor into a big space. And we were only left because we were forced out by size. We grew, we couldn't be fitted in. There was no larger space available at the convent.
Well, I came down from New South Wales Heritage just a couple of years ago, and one of my first tasks was to go and see some of those key heritage places in Melbourne. It was Parliament, the old Treasury building, Government House, and Abbotsford Convent was right up there. And I guess that tells you a couple of things. It tells you what an important heritage place it is, but also what it's become. And I think that's the story of Maggie, how she's transformed a really complex heritage precinct into this vibrant hub that's on the national stage. When I first met her, I was on this trip, I went down and she greeted me at the door, and she was this bubbly, enthusiastic person, bubbling with stories and bubbling with the history of the place and ambition, and really wanting to really transform it. And I thought, wow, places like this that are very complex, large, need larger-than-life personalities, and I think Maggie fitted that bill completely.
I'm sorry I'm not there today to celebrate Maggie's departure, but I wanted to, very pleased to send a message on behalf of all at the Australian Council for the Arts. And I remember going and visiting Maggie at the start of her tenure, and I thought, oh my God, what an enormous task she'd taken on. But it's been simply astonishing to go back and visit Maggie over the years, and to see how the Abbotsford Convent has grown and changed into the cultural precinct that it is today. And Maggie's inspiring and compelling leadership that has obviously taken many people, many donors and philanthropists on that journey of transformation.
I have the greatest admiration for what Maggie's achieved during her time at the convent. She's not only supported hundreds of artists, she's turned that space into a great community space, a community hub. It's vibrant, it has a broad reach. It's just a true success story. Maggie, hats off to you for just being such a great colleague and a great person in the art community.
The College of Cardinals is very displeased with Maggie, and in fact they've gone to the extent of withdrawing her commission as the Mother Inferior of the Abbotsford Convent. She has turned what was once a beautiful centre for peace and serenity and contemplation and prayer, and turned it into this dynamic art centre, spending millions of dollars of government money and private philanthropy and the support of many citizens who I'm sure were well intentioned, but she's turned it into a dynamic art centre which now engages in all sorts of strange and nefarious practices of sculpture and visual arts and ceramics and literature and performing arts and all sorts of things that are bringing this beautiful religious facility into considerable disrepute.
Well, Maggie, it's been a great journey and it's had its challenges, and I hope you're rewarded for the legacy that you've left, and good luck.
Maggie, it's been amazing 10 years. I think we're really going to miss you. I don't know how the place will go on without you, but we're just going to have to struggle on. Good luck, and we look forward to seeing where you next pop up.
Good on you, Maggie. It's been great working with you. On to the next stage of your adventure.
Maggie, I admire what you've done at the convent. I think you've done a great job. They're going to be big shoes to fill, and I wish you luck for the rest of your life.
So Maggie, take your collection of religious iconography and use it to better and more serious purpose for the good of mankind. Thank you.
Maggie, I wish you the very, very best for the future. I know that everybody at the convent will miss you, and you've had a fantastic innings here, and I just hope that the next stage of your life is as fascinating and as rich and full as these years at the convent have been.
Well done, Maggie, and look, whatever you take on in the future, I know it's going to be to the benefit of that organisation and the benefit of Victoria. You've got the Midas touch. Congratulations.
Good luck, Maggie. You've done a great job at the Abbotsford Convent, and I hope that there's another job that you're going to go to and do equally well at that. Bye.
Maggie, you're anything but Mother Inferior. You're a very superior colleague and a superior friend, somebody who I recall on many occasions helped me out when I needed support. You're just going to be greatly missed because you're such a good egg and a good person, and we look forward to welcoming you to our place whenever you're looking for things to do.
From all of the Australia Council, congratulations, and we look forward to working with you again on your next project.
Maggie, on behalf of Heritage Victoria and the Heritage of Victoria, congratulations. What a triumph, and wish you all the best of luck in the next endeavour.
So well done, Maggie. You have laid the foundations for greatness. So much achieved and still so much to be done. But with more support from government, the philanthropic community, business and the general public, this unique place can make its mark not just on Melbourne, but on the world. And that's the start of a great new era for the convent community.